little badass. Book badass. You little badass. You little badass. Book club badass. Welcome to the show.
Hey, bookies. Welcome back. It's the 21st episode, and that means that we've been here 21 times plus a bonus episode.
That was so brilliant. What you said right now, that's gonna...
Innovative?
It was innovative, cutting edge, and that's what we like to do here on the Bad Ass Bookclub Podcast.
I know. So why don't we all sit down, grab our cup of coffee or something stronger, and dig in to some kind of spooky book.
Yeah, let's get underneath these covers together.
Ooh, I like that for merch.
Because it is... Okay. See, she's on today, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. I will say, I think my dog likes listening to us.
Well, that makes sense to me because she probably likes your voice, and I have a certain pitch that might be...
Your voice is lovely.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dog whistle,
I don't know.
my voice.
I don't know how I went years without hearing it frequently.
Oh,
Is this getting weird?
Yeah.
This is getting weird.
Okay.
What books are we talking about today?
So I think first we'll talk about Grady Hendrix's How to Sell a Haunted House.
The Boy, and
We've also got The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones.
two completely different books.
Yeah.
And we were going for the creep factor. If you haven't picked these up, we're going to give some spoilers and we're going to dive in. But we did not finish these books. We got halfway through Grady and about a third of The Hunter. So if you're listening and you haven't read these yet, go grab a copy and catch up, or just enjoy us telling you what's going on.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy doing.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then I also have a fun little game, but we'll get to that after we talk about
Games?
how to
We're
sell
playing
a
games
haunted house.
today?
Just one little game.
Okay, so here's my thought.
Okay.
Which one do you want to grapple and dive into?
I'm going to leave it up to you. I feel like I picked last time.
No, take the lead.
Okay, you know what? Let's start with The Buffalo Hunter.
Awesome, because it is, as we all know, one of Ashley's favorite genres, plus some horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Historical
fiction, which we know I love.
Okay, but I wanted to know. I was trying to figure it out, and I was looking it up because I purchased the Audible and then also this hardcover book, as we can all see, and for reasons that we'll discuss. That being said, it was promoted. This book was promoted as historical horror.
Oh, so it's its own genre.
I think so.
As a book professional, I'm happy to know that
is this
now.
Is this kind of like music though, where it could be like it's not just rock, it's classic rock, and then it's emo, and then like it's not just metal, it's black metal or death metal or like
that makes
pop
sense.
metal pop,
Yeah.
or like what's that cutesy Japanese? Have you been listening
K-pop?
to that? Not that one. I mean, kind of, but like the metal version.
Oh, no, I don't know.
It's amazing.
That sounds creative.
Okay, so back to books.
Okay.
It's probably like that, right? Where you get like within a genre within a genre,
And then
within
you're
a
just
genre.
Umbrellaed
Within a
under
genre?
whatever. Because this could be horrific historical fiction or it could be historical horror, which I kind of like.
Okay, I just have to say, you are saying horror so well. It stumbles up my tongue. Anybody else? Does anybody else have a hard time saying horror?
Well, I
Horror?
also have
I just get a horror out of it.
I have The Sopranos playing in my house all the time. So I'm making a clear distinction. And if you've seen Sopranos, you might know what I'm alluding at.
Perfect.
Horror.
I'm just going, whenever I need to say that word, I'm just going to point to you and look
just
to
say
you.
Tony. A bunch of Tonys.
A bunch of Tonys. Perfect. All
Okay.
right, dig in.
So, just to start everybody off, The Buffalo Hunter by Stephen Jones Graham is historical horror. I'm not going to read my paper anymore. But the historical portion comes from the fact that part of it does take place in 1912.
Love it.
So there are like
Hey,
stories.
when was Titanic? Sorry, just
Okay, did you catch that they're referencing the ship going across the Atlantic?
Is that the one that they were talking?
I think they might be
Or was
talking
it just
about
like
the Titanic.
What?
Because they also used the word Titanic,
it would
but
be
during
Atlantic.
that portion, I was listening, so I didn't know if Titanic was capitalized or not. So I didn't know if he was alluding to the Titanic or just a Titanic voyage. But I think it was 1912.
I want some thoughts on that. I need to know this because what another, parallel of history to put. So it is around that time, isn't it?
Yes.
Amazing.
I think so. I'm gonna check that later.
That was around the time my great grandmother was born too.
Wow.
Just referential.
Yeah. So we're not that far from it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So
which makes it relevant. Like this.
Totally.
This is cool.
This is cool.
All right, I'll
it's
be
like
quiet
we were
now.
there.
I was-
No, it's fine.
Yeah, guys. I don't know if you know this, but we were on the Titanic.
Yeah.
Practically.
I saw the movie several times.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a few different timelines happening. I think that just to give a brief breakdown, I was a little bit confused in the beginning, not about the timelines, but just about like the storytelling. I started with the audiobook, and I do think that listening is good if you are capable of paying attention and
Mhm.
catching details, because I also feel like this author does a really good job of writing like dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there's a lot going on just with the sort of like old-timey language, not to
Yes.
mention the Native American language, not
Yes.
to mention the academic language.
Yes, and I wanted to make a quick comment on that. When you read the inner cover portion about who Stephen Graham Jones is, he's the Ivana Baldwin Professor of English at the University of Colorado Boulder. So he knows his stuff. And
You can tell.
Yeah, and the style I think is important for the authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, as close as we just said we were to this story, we're far removed from 100 years ago.
Yeah, a lot has changed.
Yeah, especially the language. So I had the same experience. I actually started by listening to it, and I thought, wow, I either need to be in a place where I can fully pay attention, or it would be nice to have the text in front of me for reference.
Yeah.
Because I did like the voices.
I do too. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, continue. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. So we have a few characters. I'll just go over briefly. We have Etsy and Bukarn, and she's the modern day 2012 character. She is a professor at the University of Wyoming, I believe, and she's a professor of like communications and journalism. She's trying to get tenure, and guess what? Cool enough for her, there is a text that's recovered from an archaeological
site.
a site, and it just so happens that she is a descendant of the author of the text, which makes her the owner, and she's in the academic sphere and looking for a book idea to help with her tenure. So she's like, hey, I'll just transcribe that. Conveniently.
I think it was in the wall, and it was kind of funny. I don't know if you enjoyed it, but how it opens up with the scene, they find it because I think like a construction guy, like she watches a construction guy find it and is like, he's probably going to pocket this, but I think it's important.
It was giving Jumanji, like in case you've seen the beginning of Jumanji where the like game is
Which
found
is fun.
way later. Yeah, I liked it. So I like that connection. And then we have two other important characters. One is Arthur Bukarn, which is her great whatever. And he is, at the time that we're reading about in 1912, a Lutheran pastor, I think would be the right term.
A man of the robes.
Yes, a man of the robes.
Relevant.
Three persons, if you will, which we'll talk about that in a minute. And then we have the Blackfoot Native American, Good Stab. Cool name. He has a few different names, I think, throughout this story, but he is the one who is telling us this story about himself possibly becoming some sort of a vampire character.
Yeah, it's a story within a story, which is pretty cool how he does
kind
it.
of within another story. Because you're getting it from Etsy, who's getting it from her great whoever, and then he's getting it from Good Stab.
I think she even called him her greatest grandfather.
Yes, which was cool. I did like that.
Yeah, there are little things like that for sure.
Yeah, and then there's this massacre that is a true event, the Marias Massacre, which I think I did a little bit of research, but not too much because I didn't want to fall on a spoiler, but it happened in like 1870. So at the time, I know, at the time that Goodstab becomes this vampire character, it's around 1870. And then he's later like telling his story to this pastor. So that's where we're at. In the big scheme of things, once we got into like Goodstab story, I started to be a little bit more hooked. In the beginning, when we were hearing from Arthur, it was a little bit tough for me.
Okay, so did you get this? Yeah, it hit hard with Arthur. For me, I played a movie in my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's, you have the exciting Jumanji part at the beginning, and I that's forever in my mind now.
Yeah.
That lives there now. And then you jump into the history and you're like, oh, I mean, sorry, not necessarily, but you have this like, he almost seems like an oafish pastor because he's older, he has like an injury, and he loves the sweets that, the people are giving him because he's of the clergy and he's, this person of importance in this town as they were. And it's like the women are kind of hitting on him and, people want to buy him drinks, but at the same time, he knows he's not supposed to because it's kind of shunned on. But him just talking about it, you get kind of set up as like, he's not a strict man. And so he would be approachable from this character Goodstab. Did you get that vibe?
I did. And I also, in the first account of him, when we're learning about his sort of like gluttonous nature, like he's like, oh, I'm dipping into the church wine, or I can't save this cake for later because it won't be as good later, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
He really likes to indulge, it seems like.
Yeah.
He does talk about like a little bit of a reference to he hasn't always been this upstanding citizen. Maybe he has sort of a darker past, which I feel like back then you kind of did wear a lot of hats. I mean, things were changing quickly in just the culture.
And at that time, if you were able to make it to these locations to begin with, like through your travels, you experienced something.
And the same with the age. If he was to make it to his 70s, he's got a long line of different characters maybe he's played throughout his life. Yeah,
Good
exactly.
point. Ooh, I didn't even reach that deep.
Well, I didn't really get that in the beginning, but then as I'm learning more about him, I'm like, wow, the author's really like trying to let us know that he doesn't know when to stop.
There's these little nuances in there. You're right.
Yeah.
And you know what? I didn't catch them at first in that way.
Yeah.
Fun.
Okay, full disclosure, guys. I've listened to the first like 3 chapters a lot because I kept listening to them at the end of the day and then I would fall asleep. And so I didn't want to miss anything because I do want to like give my full attention and respect the book. I think it's going to get really good. But I'm pretty well versed now in those beginning portions.
I did receive a text message. You guys, I did receive a text message from Ashley earlier this week where she did mention like how most of these historical fiction pieces go for her. They're a slow starter, kind of a slow burn. Now, do you think it's because we are so far removed from these times, or do you think it's also just, I mean, it almost seems thematic, like, right?
Yeah, I just think that for this genre, what I've learned is that they might best be enjoyed over longer periods of time, like just take a little chunk. But honestly, that's how I feel in the beginning of everyone.
Yep.
I went to the library yesterday to grab this and I saw the antidote sitting there and I was just like, okay, I gotta get out of here. So yes, and it's like you have to work for them. They're just like an academic book.
So even though this is a Tony, even though this is a Tony of a book, it still has, you have to put the work in.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I do think there's meat and potatoes in there that are really good.
Yeah.
There are a couple scenes I know we'll talk about specifically, but so far, is it worth it to you? Like, would you tell someone that if they're slow to start in this, like, let's say they were reading it at the end of the day, do they actually need to reread it? Like if they're not, hosting a podcast?
So far, maybe not. Because I will say too, like now that we're into the story that Goodstab is telling us, I'm like, I was ready to keep reading.
Okay, me
It was just getting over that portion of like learning who Arthur is and like how where we're at.
Setting the scene.
It was a little, I could have probably just gotten past that a little bit quicker.
Okay. Do you watch some of those like Dracula movies and stuff? And I feel like it's very similar.
That's a great point.
Yeah, right? Where it's like you have to build the history, you have to get used to these characters, and it's not just bam.
Yeah.
Something happens.
Yeah. But then once the fangs do show up, you're ready. You're in. You're sunk in, like those fangs. And
Ooh.
yeah, I could. Same with both books,
Okay.
actually. Where we stopped in both books, I was like so ready to keep going.
I
So that
know.
leaves me excited for the next round.
Me too. This is kind of an easy one today.
Yeah. So anyway, well, go ahead. I feel like we've set the scene. What are some of your favorite scenes that we've come across so far?
Well, okay. I'll answer your question, but I wanted to know what you thought about the writing, but it kind of goes hand in hand. This is kind of a sexy book though, right?
Yeah,
I
it
like
is.
the one you got at the library though.
Yeah, I was just well, look at that red.
And I will say
Page
this,
edge.
because this is a newer book, it's got a price tag on it. It's a little hefty. So if you can, it apparently is already at the library, guys.
It is.
If you want
I
to check
was
it out,
happy to
check it
see.
out.
Yeah, it was random that I happened to check because I thought it is so new. It's not going to be here.
Yeah.
And it was.
Okay, I'll give you my top scene, and then you can give me one of yours. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
Top scene. It's less of his creepiness when he enters the church, and it's more of when he is attacked and becomes a vampire. Because Stephen Graham. Okay, so here's some spoilers. Although we're in the first third. Stephen Graham Jones. I just stop it halfway. I don't know why.
That's okay.
Stephen Jones, SGJ. That's got actually harder to say. Okay, I'm going to stop. I must just stop trying.
The
Okay.
author.
The author of this does such a good job of giving a little bit of that creep. The classic creep is what I call it. But the sadness and the sorrow of these conflicting entities, right? You have soldiers, and then you have the natives who have already lost a lot of who they were.
Mm-hmm.
And both sides really, at this point in history, have climaxed and plateaued, I believe, at being so afraid of each other
Yeah.
that there's no going back.
Right.
Even within this, Western expansionism and statehood that's starting to develop in the West, and there's even what I thought was interesting was the preacher Arthur. Is he a preacher? Well, the guy.
He keeps. It's funny because he keeps getting referred to in all these different ways. That
Yeah, but
this man of clergy, but then
Right.
he's like, well, but I'm actually this. I think it's pastor. Whatever.
Okay. And we don't want to be disrespectful of anyone. That being said, it doesn't seem as important for this text, but Arthur, right? His
Yeah.
name's Arthur. He comments in one of his opening sermons about how both sides are wrong and both sides are right. Because once someone's attacked, obviously there's a retaliation, and then different peoples within a larger peoples started behaving in a certain way that was very harmful to anybody.
Right.
So even there were innocent people on all sides getting murdered and hurt and injured, and it was a bloodbath for all sake of this.
Yeah.
And so he sets that up. And then to me, it was very, very subtle. And then you're in this scene of just death. And within the scene of death is where this native becomes this vampire.
Yeah.
Like you think he's going to be dead, but the brutality and the blood and gore, it reminded me a little bit of the movie The Patriot, the Mel Gibson movie, when they were just like killing each other with those big lead balls,
Yeah. Yeah.
But that to me was very vivid.
Yeah.
And it was good.
Yeah, it was really good. Well, first thing with the author and his writing, you kind of just mentioned that. I love how we're getting like some of the Native American terms.
Right.
And Arthur points this out too when he's recounting the story as to sort of fact check when he's like, would Good Stab know about cats? And he describes the vampire as the cat man. Did they have this type of weapon here when he
Right.
describes one of the automatic weapons?
Oh, yeah. I think it was the Gatlin.
Yeah.
And then also, did you notice the shots gun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Because
mini shots
The
gun.
mini shots gun.
Yeah, and then the grease one or something.
Yeah,
I love
grease
the
ball.
terms, and then I'm like going through all the terms they have for animals, and I'm thinking like, okay, is that a wolf? No, big mouth is the wolf. Little big mouth is the coyote. Dirty face is the mouse.
Okay. I'm so glad you're mentioning this right now. That is where I got lost because I'm so like, even Catman, I was like, is that a native term? Was like that a mountain lion? But it's not a mountain lion as we come to find out.
Yeah.
But that's where like I had to pay attention.
Yeah, and it was even a little bit tricky there just because the terms aren't familiar. But like when he's talking about, he's got PC, he's got Tall Dog, and he's
Yeah.
got Hunts from the Side. Obviously, those are companions on this little mission where they're trying to like change the narrative of what has gone on here to protect one of the villages. I mean, I'm not going to get into too deep because we could sit here all day talking
Yeah.
about like what's going on.
Yeah.
But my favorite scene
Yeah, I want to hear.
is leading up to that when he like his whole spirituality thing where he's like, oh, the reason this happened is because I killed the beaver. We're not supposed to kill the beavers for their skins to trade because they're the sacred medicine giver. And I knew from the moment I stopped following my Swift runner, who I think is like a rabbit or something, his little spirit guide, he, instead of going and doing this purpose, he was out looking for a long log. He then decides, because he's got this like mini shooting gun thing on the brain. Sorry, I'm getting scattered because I'm excited.
So basically, no, I agree, and I'll just support you. He needs money and in order to get this weapon, which is a shotgun. It's a smaller shotgun,
right?
Is what we understand for accuracy. It's going to help him. It's going to help him become more.
He's lost his lodge. He kind of feels lost. He doesn't feel like a man. He thinks he needs this gun.
And so he almost thinks it's like it's a gift. What does he do? He justifies it to himself.
Yeah, he does. And he knows. Like he's doing this moral back and forth thing where he's like, okay, but whatever, he justifies himself.
Right.
So at the moment he decides to go kill this beaver to get its hide to trade for the gun, it's like his switch is flipped, and that's when he has decided his own destiny, and now he pretty much becomes like this demon thing.
Isn't that yeah.
But that whole scene, and then he hears a shot because soldiers start attacking his friends, and then he goes back, and then the dominoes fall, and then he ends up getting not even bit. Did you notice how he turns? It was an accident. The Catman wasn't trying to turn him into a vampire. He just happened to be like downhill from the Catman getting shot, and the blood went into his throat, and then it became part of him. Like it wasn't, because in traditional vampire stories, the vampire kind of like bites the person and has an intention of turning them.
I thought it was both.
I don't think so. I think the Catman just wanted to kill him.
You are right. I do. I mean, I know for certain that you are correct that as he's being shot, the gun is, it's funny. It's not funny, but the gun is raised, which I think is a Gatlin. It's on both of them. Someone shouts so that they look up, but then it raises to be on the Catman. And then he's shot, and then you're right, the Catman's blood is soaking into him.
I do think the Catman did get a chance to attack him, but I think the Catman's intention was just to kill everything.
Well, and that was interesting too, because he shot at the Catman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll be honest.
A lot was happening.
It is. And it's one of those things where like you watch the movie again, you read the chapter again, maybe a few times, and you catch something new every time. And I might do that. I might go back because it's such a significant part.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to know though, did you notice that during his transformation, he sees the beaver family later, and then he's almost reassured because one of the younger male beavers has taken the threatening position and fulfilled, or I should say filled the role of the one he had taken.
Yeah,
you're right though. It was so soulful, Ashley.
It's just, I love the whole Native American take too on like just everything has its place and there's this balance. Like he didn't even want to throw traps into the water to get rid of them because he felt like the water people didn't need the man's iron in the water. Like it's just all so beautifully written. I really
very
appreciated
respectful.
that. Yeah. And then did you also notice it was the old man native who let the Catman out too, because at that time they thought he was some sort of a god. They were trying to get him to like a sacred place. Do you remember?
Okay, so that's where I got a little confused because there was so much going on and I was listening to it.
Yeah, so it seemed to me like they were on their mission. They come across the Catman, but they realize he can't die. So their next plausible option is that, he must be a god. So let's take him to the mountain chief.
There it is.
So they're taking him to this mountain where they think they're doing the right thing.
Thank you for clearing that up for me.
Then they get attacked by soldiers who they knew the soldiers were out and about, but I think at that time they were so distracted with like the Catman that they weren't on guard. And plus,
you're right.
Good Stab
He
went to
was
go get wood.
released to kind of help them?
Well, so Peasy, who is the oldest of the natives on that little mission, gets shot a lot by the soldiers, and in his last
War
dying
cry.
thing,
Ooh.
yes, then he opens the gate because Good Stab does this thing of explaining, oh yeah, we must be close enough to the mountain chief to where if we let this god out of this cage, everything's gonna work out the way it was supposed to.
That part I missed because I was so into the
There was
action.
so much going
Ashley,
on.
oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, and
I bet that's helpful for a lot of people.
Be even getting too deep because again, we could really. There's a lot in the text. There's a lot.
It ramps up. It ramps up and then it slows down again.
Yeah,
But that part is so good.
yeah, and just
But okay. I want to go back to the fact that your favorite scene was the one that led up to that.
yeah, I thought it was just really interesting to get a good sense of who Good Stab is before he changes into something else.
Mm-hmm. And you even have a little bit of history about how he felt kind of like he had also lost his way because he was showing some of this newer technology, right?
Yeah.
To the younger native.
Oh, and then what happened to that guy?
He blew off 3 of his fingers.
Yeah, but did you catch he re-encounters him? Yeah, that was also good storytelling.
Yeah. Good job, Stephen.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. And yeah,
that pulled at my heartstrings.
I know. And it just made me think like, okay, so this is like a big, expansive like area, but it's also just like such a community.
Yeah.
Like we're running into the same people.
Yeah.
Something else I was gonna say. Oh gosh. Oh yeah. And then the older man, the short rib guy who Arthur comes into contact with, also recognizes Good Stab. So there's something there. I'm kind of jumping ahead, but when we left off, the Pinkerton is around because something we haven't mentioned is that it starts.
Oh my gosh.
The story starts with these murders.
There it is.
Or we think they're murders.
Right. Well, okay, so they find bodies.
Mhm.
So in 1912, right?
Yes.
They find these bodies and they are brutally displayed, skinned,
Painted?
and painted.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that this is before we even meet Good Stab.
Right.
Good Stab introduces himself into this community through meeting with Arthur.
Right.
So it is first set by, wow, here is this person that we don't even know who it is because it is so transformed in its display of death.
Yes.
And you kind of assume, or I should rephrase this, I assumed, okay, he did something bad.
Arthur.
Not Arthur, the person who is skinned.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know.
Well, why else would somebody do this?
Right.
Yeah.
Unless as some of the townsfolk thought, it was either, which was interesting, it was either a native, they call them Indians because that was what they were referred to at that point.
Yeah.
It was an Indian who had it out.
Right.
Because of the painting.
Right.
Or it was someone pretending to be an Indian to make you think that it was an Indian.
Yeah, and this part was a little blurry for me too, but I think they even there were a lot of possibilities. Like it could have just been a body that had been there and been frozen for quite some time.
Yeah.
And then, regardless of how it got to that state, it may have not been like a present day victim. It could have been somebody from the past.
Okay, and we got to talk location, lady, because we mentioned that the journal is found in Wyoming, but they're in Montana.
Right.
And not the territory of Montana, as we learned, but once it's become a state.
Right. So, regardless of where they are, Arthur ends up probably, but then again, who knows? Because this is a journal. Somebody else could have taken it to where Etsy is.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing too, at the end of where we stopped, the Pinkerton lets us know that these bodies are actually from California.
Yeah. Here we go.
So what?
And there's something else going on. Like it's a father and sons who were on a mission, but then also some gold had been lost at some point.
And they had encountered a man in black robes, which we didn't mention, but it's mentioned in the text that Good Stab was wearing the same thing that you might see like a pastor or preacher wearing, these long black robes.
And the only reason why we know Good Stab's story, just to catch everybody up, is because Arthur is approached by Good Stab after one of his sermons, and he starts by talking about the three.
Mm-hmm.
The Son, the Holy Spirit. Was it the Son, the Father, the Holy Spirit, basically?
It was basically the
referenced
creator.
the creator.
The Son, the Father, and the creator. So same thing.
Yeah, and this guy's been around, and he looks too young and to be telling these stories is what you're figuring out through
Arthur.
almost two oafish, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And he comes back multiple times to tell him about his history. It seems like a confession, doesn't it?
It definitely seems like a confession, which I think is fitting because Arthur can take confession,
Yeah.
I think. And Arthur is intrigued, and I love that this is his personality trait. He's like, I'm not really sure I believe all this. And he's like going
Yeah.
through the motions of like, do I believe him? Well, I must believe him a little bit if I'm trying to find weaknesses in the story.
But he also seems like a guy who loves stories.
Yes. And I think he is just intrigued just naturally. Maybe his personality is
Yeah.
like a sort of intrigued person. He's like, where is this going? I think he might also be like, why me? But then again, he bounces back towards like, oh, well, I'm just the guy in this area.
I'm the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
I think you're right.
interesting.
We're going to learn more about these characters. Just so that everybody knows, we made it through chapter 9 up to chapter 10. In my big book, it's page 148. And as far as dates go, April 14th, 1912. And where it leaves off essentially is we've been introduced to this Pinkerton, right?
Mhm.
And there is Dove following.
Yep.
And Arthur's learning more about who this displayed death murder guy has been.
Yep.
And he's kind of being a little sneaky to figure out more details.
It does kind of tell us a little bit more about Arthur
Yeah.
because he's a trickster.
A little bit.
Like he's trying to get information from the Pinkerton without showing the Pinkerton his cards.
Yes, absolutely.
And the Pinkerton even for a minute is like, whoa.
And it's interesting because he knows that there's some danger about Good Stab.
Right.
But he's to the point of being so intrigued, he wants it.
And to me,
Keep going. Yeah.
it feels like maybe Arthur wants to get the full story about who and what Good Stab is before he goes and like shows the Pinkerton that we have a suspect here who fits your description.
Mhm.
Because maybe Arthur thinks that there could be some sort of connection that will have his interests involved.
Yeah. And it's interesting too because Good Stab only tells as much as he wants to at a certain point.
And I love because it seems as though it might be part of his culture to like light the pipe, tell the story until the pipe is done because he says then the pipe is empty or out or whatever. And then he's going to save his next portion for the next time they meet.
Yes.
Which is also an interesting way to hear the story.
And he's a man that undead man.
Yes.
Who can walk in the sunlight, but wears darker clothing and sunglasses,
Yeah,
correct?
the sun seems to bother his eyes.
So some of the tropes aren't consistent, which I like.
Yeah.
And if you guys might like that as well.
Yeah.
But that's about where we leave off. So I want to talk characters really quickly. Do you have a favorite character? Do you think how do you feel about the writing so far?
Okay, so I really like the writing. This isn't exactly what I had thought of because you had made the list of the horror meets historical fiction, but now the more I'm getting into it, I'm pleased.
Okay.
I don't know what else I could want from it, you know?
Okay.
But it isn't that scary.
Exactly. Yep. I thought we'd be like, boom, spooky. But then I also realized I misunderstood how this was going to be written, which was kind of nice to be honest. I thought it was going to be more of like a revenge, here we go, perspective of the native.
Right.
But it's written in the perspective of the diary kept.
Right.
But Stephen, the author,
Graham Jones.
thank you, does a good job of giving you the first person story inside of it.
Yeah.
Which is neat.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And if you're listening or choose to listen to the audio, you get different voices.
Mhm.
So that's nice.
But so far, and maybe I'll be surprised, so far it's a slow burn.
Yes.
With a lot of setup.
Yes.
Good. I mean, I feel I'm a naturalist. I love nature. I love Mama Moon, Father Moon.
Sun Chief.
Sun Chief. I love, just me personally touching the grass.
Yeah,
Know what I mean?
I do.
And I'm very connected to animals.
Yeah.
And so that really hit. It sets you up very much into that world in a nice way.
Mhm.
But I did expect immediate spooks. Like
Yeah.
spooky. I wanted it to be spooky right off the bat, and this is not that story.
No, and I think it's interesting because, like, at least in the book, like the Native American just perspective is so one with like the spirit and the
Yes.
environment and the living, and they're just part of it. That it takes an interesting spin on what we know of as like a vampire or something like that, because it's not that far fetched for him. Like he's like, oh, it's not this, it must be a god. Oh no, now it's this, and now I'm one of them too. Like it's just kind of matter of fact.
Okay,
but
I was actually listening. I love that, and I was actually listening to Scared to Death podcast. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this, but we had to wait on that.
Oh yeah.
On that 6th edition because I misread, and hopefully it'll get to us by Halloween. So we're waiting on that. That's kind of why we did this. But I was listening to one, and Lindsay was making the comment that through different cultures, they all have their own things. They all have their own vampires, but they use their own language and their own culture to understand it.
Right.
And they, and Japanese culture, like some, and basically, you have your common ghost, you have your common vampire, you have your, even aliens, but they might look a little differently based on someone's culture and how they're presented to them, or described in that way. And I think that's kind of what we're getting here with the Native Americans, Indians, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting too because the Cat Man, we don't really know what his story was
Right.
or where he came from, but he was like more feral and animal-like. So
Do they become that?
right, like do we just see that later? But it seems like Good Stab kind of has a pretty good hold. I mean, we don't
Yeah.
know who his victims end up being once he moves past necessity because he
Right.
comes on some trappers and like
Right.
he does something I kind of thought was funny that we didn't talk about. He like eats too many antelope or something, so he starts to turn into an antelope. I mean, he didn't eat them, but uses their blood
Yes.
to survive. So
and then he sees
a mule,
another
a mule, I
and
think.
he's like, don't worry, you're gonna be fine because I know that I can only eat 2-legged.
Yeah, and like I don't want big ears, so I'm not going to eat suck
Yeah,
your blood
yeah.
mule. It's kind of funny. Like there is some comedic elements to it.
But did you also notice that the Catman did hesitate before going towards Good Stuff?
Yeah, maybe there's like I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to turn into an Indian. I don't know who he is.
And he's called Catman because he goes on all fours, right?
Yeah, he looked kind of caddish. But then Good Stab does mention, too, that the soldiers seem to be keeping him alive because whatever the story was when they first come in contact with them, it seems as though, and Arthur kind of alludes to this, too, soldiers were carrying a big package, he says. And to me, it seems like he was talking about Catman in this cage. Maybe they were going to use him as a weapon. Whatever the case was, it seems like they were feeding him mice, so he was starting to look more like a mouse.
There it is. That explains it.
And from Good Stab's perspective, the natives who came upon him said that he kind of looked like a cat. Maybe the teeth. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah, the fangs probably. And perhaps that's where I got confused because I was like,
But the
is this
all-fours,
actually
too.
Catman or are we talking like mountain lion?
Yeah.
Because some of those it's just terminology or whatnot.
And then the pastor tries to figure out if cats were around back then because, like, why would we have the term cat if there were no cats? And then even Short Ribs was like, I never saw a cat before.
And the writing style lends itself to you going, wait, what? Because Arthur, as he's hearing this story, is also kind of like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what?
But it's fun because he's not exactly scared.
Exactly.
And
I love
he
that.
wants to hear more, but he's also looking for inconsistencies.
Girl, do you know what this reminds me of? Interview with a Vampire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
How it sets the tone.
Yeah.
You got Brad Pitt. They're talking about the history of becoming vampires.
Yeah.
It sets the historical scene, and it's very journal-like.
Which is interesting because Christian Slater, when he's hearing Brad Pitt's story, is a journalist, and Etsy is a journalist. Stephen Graham Jones.
What?
Is this your modern take?
But I like a modern... Yeah.
Well,
historical
modern take.
No, right?
Interesting.
It's similar, but I love it.
So did you? Okay, just the last thing, because then we can move on. But
Please.
we have it's the book. The chapters are broken up, and I'm gonna butcher this, but the Noxers
I'm so
dark
I
gospel.
Can't. Nope, not
And
even
the
gonna try it.
Noxer, I did Google, is just the Germans' take on vampire. And Pastor Arthur Buchardt is German.
Yeah, there you go.
And then we also have 3 persons.
See, this is why book club is great. No, honestly, this is why book club is so good for this
I
book, you guys,
think
because
that
I'm like,
the other chunks are the
Yeah.
absolution of 3 persons, and 3 persons is the name that Goodstab gave to Arthur because he represents the
Yeah.
Son, the Father,
okay,
and the Creator.
so I'm glad you mentioned that. This book is broken up into parts,
Right.
into pieces.
By date and by whose perspective we're hearing
Yep.
from.
Yep, which is important to know. So for our bookies out there who may not be reading it, is it worth it? What are we feeling? What are you liking?
I don't think that we've given too much away at this point. Honestly, if I had this amount of knowledge going into it, maybe I would have been a little bit more excited to keep going in the beginning because I
Good
know
point.
that it's getting somewhere.
Yep.
But I don't know. If you're okay with historical fiction, which not everybody is, and if you're okay with horror, but honestly, it's not that horrific yet. There are skinned people. There
Yeah.
are,
Brutally murdered people.
creatures drinking blood. But for the most part, it's more kind of sad.
But if you're in,
It's a little sad.
yeah,
It's a little sad.
especially the buffalo.
Yeah, which I think we're going to learn more about.
Yeah.
And I
mean,
mean-
if you know that piece of history,
Yeah.
I'll say it. I do love it. I love learning about history. I think this is an authentic take. I think the author does a good job of shedding some light onto some of the tragedies.
Definitely.
But being fair to all parties
sides,
involved.
sure.
Yeah. Or different perspectives. But also, if you're expecting that jump in spookiness, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
But it is slowly burning me in a good way.
Yeah, I like it. And I like how you brought up, being fair to all the parties. It actually does take me back to the anecdote when I got a Polish immigrant's
I
perspective.
remember.
And they were like, oh, yeah, they came to Poland and it was bad over here. And they said, hey, come to America, the land of the free with lots of opportunities. And we get there and we realize we're taking someone else's opportunities.
Yeah.
So, having that, my other historical fiction reference in mind, taking me to here,
Yeah.
I can give a little bit of grace to some of the settlers, even though there's
Yeah.
bad actors on both sides.
Yep. Favorite character so far?
I love Goodstab.
Me too. And honestly, you get the sense that he's the one who's done this and that these guys were not good guys. And I'm feeling like Dexter here in the sense that I'm rooting for him and I'm glad you did that.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that says about me, but
Well, and there's so many doors that, maybe will be closed as we continue on. But in Interview with the Vampire, Tom Cruise just
Yes.
pops up in the back of the car when Christian Slater's driving away. Do you remember that ending scene?
Mhm.
So maybe Goodstab will pop up at Etsy's. I don't know.
Okay. Love these predictions.
Yeah.
Give me another prediction.
It's been a while since we've done predictions.
I know. Let's do a quick prediction. What do
Okay.
you think's going to happen next in the story?
So I think we're going to learn more about who these people are, the people who have been skinned, the father and the sons.
Mhm.
I think more bodies are going to turn up because there's 2 more sons. And I guess I'm just leading because we're going to figure out how Goodstab and these sons are related because he's
Mhm.
obviously been visiting them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think there's going to be more to that. I think that we're going to learn more about Arthur.
Yeah, I think Arthur's connected
I do too.
because he's lived so long and Goodstab seems to be, pretty clever guy. So maybe it's no accident he came upon Arthur to tell his story too.
Okay. And I'm going to do a deep prediction.
Oh.
Okay. Instead of Christian Slater, which I don't know. I like Christian Slater. Yeah. Ferngully. Okay.
Don't get me
So
started.
what if instead, once Goodstab confesses all of this, he then turns greatest granddad, and then greatest granddad is actually still alive and watching his greatest granddaughter, and then goes and meets up with her and is like, surprise, it's me.
Okay, that seems cool and
Yeah.
scary. Maybe that's where the scariness comes in. Imagine being turned vampire when you're already like 75. Like,
Yikes. Although he seems fat and happy.
that's actually true. And he did lead a life and then he just becomes immortal. We also don't know like what happened to Catman. We think
Yeah.
that maybe he got burned up because
Mhm.
Good Stab says no bones were around. But to me, that just says where is he?
Yeah. You know what you said, though? You made a good point. So Good Stab's been around for a while as a vampire. So there's a lot of tragedy that happens during those years in our history.
Mhm.
There's probably a lot more that's going to be said.
Wait a second, too. I didn't think of this until now. Good Stab says he's been around about 80 winters and he looks about 40 winters. Arthur, they mention Arthur's age. He's a little bit younger than 80 winters. So it is possible that Good Stab and Arthur have crossed paths
Interesting.
on the settlement.
Interesting.
But I don't know yet.
Okay. I love it. Let's put this on the nightstand for now.
Yeah, let's.
Okay. Awesome. Oh, you baddies. I love it. You keep me young.
Our golden baddies especially.
Mean Girls reference.
So good.
So good. Let's Pupkin.
Pupkin. Okay, guys, trigger warning.
Grady.
Puppets.
Grady, you bad boy, you.
I'm going to have a hard time not comparing Southern Book Club and Haunted House.
Okay. Yeah.
Just as a warning.
You know, okay, but Southern Book Club came after this?
I don't know.
Okay. Trying to remember.
I feel like this is newer, but I could be completely off.
All right. First impressions. Halfway through. Okay, so everyone knows. Did we say exactly where we ended?
I don't
bargaining?
think we did, but yeah, we're at bargaining. So this book is cool in that it is broken up into the 5 stages of grief as different sections,
See?
as different parts.
Right over my head.
Oh,
Love it. Thanks,
Okay.
Ashley.
wait, really?
Really? I was like, huh.
Stop.
I didn't pay attention to it.
Okay. Well, you're
It's
going to
been
love
a
the
week.
game.
It's been a week for me, my
Okay.
dear.
No, but okay. No, that's great. So in case you didn't know.
Okay, but now my brain's making all these connections, so I'll be ready.
Yeah. and-
Wait, are we playing game now? No, let's
no,
go into it.
at the
Okay,
end, at the
okay,
end. But
okay.
it does have to do with the 5 stages
Okay, I love it.
because that is the sections of the book. I think just to start off, it took me a little while to get in because I was used to Southern Book Club, and I think the difference was in Southern Book Club, right away I related with Patty Patricia, and I was like ready to go on this
adventure.
adventure and slay some vampires with her because I felt connected.
Yep.
And I don't feel as connected to Louise, which is not Louise's fault by any means.
It is 100%.
Grady's.
Don't like her. No, I'm just kidding.
Honestly, I'm loving Mark, but we'll get there. So I kept trucking because I knew Grady and I knew
Yes.
it was going to get there.
Yes.
But for me, it was a little bit, I wasn't loving it.
Okay. That's fair. That's 100% fair. What I'm going to say is, Grady, you naughty boy, because we do know you and you have just started to show yourself, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I am excited for what's to come. You better not disappoint me. I do feel that the cover art was misleading.
Yeah.
And almost the title in a sense, I mean, I get it and it's captivating and it made me want to pick it up. Obviously we did. But to me, this is not what the house looks like. The house is a 1-story with, I hear there's a basement we're going to find out about from somebody else.
Okay.
There's obviously an attic that we know, but it's promoted as like a 1-story family house.
Yeah.
Family living house.
Yeah.
That's not this, right? So the artwork, somebody put the artwork together to be like, this is like a classic haunted house, what you would think. But if you grew up in, Stephen King era of haunted houses and you were roaming the streets and you're thinking Southern homes with ghosts in the top stories and stuff like that, this doesn't seem more of a ghost story. It seems more of like a poltergeist sort of, I don't know. I know there's more coming is what I'm going to say, but the creep factor to me is creeping.
Yes.
And it is not, and maybe I wasn't super into it because this took longer to get into with the scares.
Yeah.
Like you get some of the scares, but you're like, it's not that scary. Like there's a couple scenes where it's almost, to me, hilarious.
In the beginning, I was feeling that way.
Right?
I was feeling that way. I was like the taxidermy nativity scene squirrels, for
Yep.
example.
Yeah. Yep.
That was our first brush with like the other side or whatever it
Yep.
is.
And we're gonna talk. We'll talk about it. I want to get into those scenes
But
for
I was
sure with
laughing,
you. Yeah, but
is
I was
my point.
laughing.
Yeah.
I was laughing too.
Yeah.
100%.
Like picturing it, I actually thought it was really funny.
Okay, so I don't know if you got this feeling. Like it's like when you're about to see a movie, you've seen these trailers for it. To be fair, though, I didn't like. I hyped it myself. There wasn't anything other than the cover to me that was a little misleading. And so I was ready to jump into a haunted house in the South situation. And I probably led you guys to believe that too, which is funny.
This led us to believe that because
Right?
even looking at it now, I'm like, okay, well, I can kind of see it as like a dollhouse, but we're not dealing with dolls
No.
either. We're dealing with puppets.
Oh my God.
So it's not even,
Spoiler. Yeah.
I feel like it's like how to sell. I mean, that'll be, I guess, the next half.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
we're just not ready to speak on it yet.
And-
but I didn't feel like this was accurate the front at all.
No, in my mind. And so here you are showing up to the movie theater.
Yeah.
You're ready to watch a specific type of movie.
Yeah.
And you're sitting down and you're watching the first half, the entire first half, and you're like, huh? And then there's a couple scenes where you're laughing.
Yeah.
Like almost like a 70s, 80s classic Tony movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was my vibe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And it is, I mean, it kept me interested enough because I'm like, okay, I know Grady.
Mhm.
Like, it's got to be getting somewhere.
Yeah.
And then we got the needle.
Okay. We're
Okay, sorry.
Okay. No.
Go ahead.
You're in the scenes and I love it. Do you want me to give a quick synopsis
Let's-
and then we'll do the opposite and then you do
who-
scenes?
And who people are too, maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
Because and that's the thing, right? Then you get into these scenes and you're like, let's talk about these scenes.
Yeah.
So I'll be fast. I'll be quick. As quick as I can be.
It doesn't have to be that.
She just was smiling at me, you guys. It was great. I don't know if I need a button this. Oh, never mind. Okay, so here we
No. Never.
Okay, so we have Louise. And Louise is the daughter who's moved away. And she's living on the opposite coast, basically. And she starts this she has this relationship with her parents that's a little sordid because she's always been I don't know, she's the older sister and she's always done the right thing. And is what you're led to believe. And she then goes and gets has a fancy college career followed by a fancy career. She's making money. She's self-sufficient. And then at the age of like 34, I think 30. Yeah, something like that. She gets pregnant out of wedlock, which is fine at that time.
Yeah.
Because this is a modern book.
Yes.
And she is worried because she calls her parents and her parents are more traditional and they just love her and accept her. And then she feels like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have a better relationship with my mom. You don't really know 100% why at that time they don't, other than you're in Louise's perspective. And so it's this thought that there's just different people.
Yeah.
Okay. Like she's always had hard expectations on her and her mom's kind of like this artsy puppet maker, drama person.
Yeah.
And Louise is like no, I get business done. I'm more like my dad. I'm more logical. I'm more scientific and I can handle things on my own. And so she's just so opposite from her mom that she feels good that she's going to have her parents' support. Her parents come out, they help set everything up. And she goes, I'm finally going to have the relationship I've wanted with my mom because we can bond on motherhood. And then she says, I didn't know I'd only have 5 years.
Right.
Because her parents are killed in a car accident and they're killed by being T-boned. She gets this phone call from her aunt, I think.
No, her brother calls.
Oh, is actually the phone call?
Yes, the first call is her brother.
Okay, very good. And her brother's Mark, and he's the opposite of her. I'm trying to keep it short.
Yep, seems to take more after the mom.
Yeah, but also kind of flighty. Louise, you could tell, is very resentful. She there was a point where Mark, as a teenager, started to become just kind of like
Acting out,
being
being a jerk.
being a jerk to her, and more than like classic what you would hear,
Yeah,
you know.
kind of like terrorizing her. It's sort of, she
Yeah.
made it sound like.
Well, and that's a good point. The whole perspective that
Yeah.
she has is he's not a good dude. And honestly, she convinces me I don't
Yeah.
like him. And because he's even brief and is like, oh yeah, our parents died.
And like 2 days later, something like that.
Yeah.
The timeline is strange.
Yeah. And so she's like, excuse me? And gets angry. And so basically then she calls, you're right, then she calls a family member to get more information, finds out that they didn't just die. That's when she finds out it was actually 2 days before. They had been T-boned. They had left their house. She mishears or is like trying to understand that maybe her dad had a heart attack or had an attack, which is interesting and comes into play. And so basically she's like, I gotta go. She is not married to her daughter.
Poppy's dad.
Yep. Her daughter's name's Poppy. And you kind of get the sense that he wasn't mature enough at that time to get married, or she didn't even want him really to be as involved. And he's not. He's kind of sluggish.
Yeah.
Or just
I think
doesn't know what to do.
It seems like he participates and he
Good
likes
point.
being a dad and everything, but I was kind of getting the vibe that Louise just kind of sets a certain standard for the people in her life, and maybe
That's
Ian,
perfect.
who's the dad, maybe he's actually a little okay, but like it wasn't what Louise pictured for herself.
You are
Because
so
they
good
broke,
with people.
I think they broke up, and she found out she was pregnant around the same time. Like he was like,
right. They were breaking up, and then they had like one last.
and yeah, something like that. There was like a commitment thing happening, and I'm sorry, I don't remember which one didn't want to commit. But I think Louise just was like, "This isn't the guy for me."
You know
but
what?
now I'm having a baby.
You are so good at this, Ashley, because like you said, it's Louise's perspective, and I was buying into it.
See, you had said like I don't like Mark, and I was kind of like, why are we being so hard on Mark if he's got such a hard time? Like
Well,
Louise, you're rich, you live in San Francisco, you have everything you need. Like chill.
But I do start to like Mark, but not with how he deals with the funeral. But then you start to get, like you say, other people's perspectives. So, anyways, she has to go back, and when she goes back, there's a lot of kerfuffle. I'll just say.
Oh yeah, Mark is a character.
Yeah,
and drinks too much. I guess.
Well, yeah, there's that too. And they basically decide to sell the house. But it's dirty funeral stuff. Yeah, it's about the money.
Yeah, it is about the money, and there are some twists and turns about who's getting the house, and then there's just a lot of just like confusion and sort of just like up in the air, and then they finally get to a place where they're gonna do it together. Like they actually kind of like get to a good place
because they need each other in order to sell the house.
Yeah.
And they both need to sell the house.
Mm-hmm.
I think is what is basically it.
I think so too.
And maybe that's why, like, I could go into more detail. Readers who are reading along or who have read this, they already know.
Yeah.
But it's so much buildup. Like,
a lot of family
we could
stuff.
talk about it for 30 minutes. Like the intricacies and those dynamics between the siblings, but that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
As they're trying to prepare the house, they're starting to kind of learn that maybe it wasn't a heart attack. Maybe it's some sort of attack because, first of all, there's puppets and dolls inside this house that set the scene creepy.
Yeah.
Mom had left the purse and the TV was on, though. And who does that when they're leaving? And why would you leave in the rain, in the danger?
And the dad's cane was left behind, and he needs the cane.
He needs the cane, yeah.
They're random...
So there's buildup.
Yeah, there's buildup. It seems like there was a scene. Like Louise, it's fun because Louise does this thing kind of from the moment she gets to the house.
Yeah.
Where we're not to bargaining yet, but she's bargaining with herself. Like, okay, this is weird, but there's an explanation. She's looking for this logical explanation for all of these kind of strange feelings she's having. And she's not wanting to go with her gut. She's wanting to talk herself out of any like weirdness.
And that's when I like Mark, because Mark's like, no, GTFO. We are not staying in this house.
Yeah.
Hey, if our cousin says it's haunted, no, we don't need to do that. And it's interesting you say that because at first Louise is angry with Mark because Mark is having a service come in to clean out the house for them.
Right.
And you're like, how could you do that? It's been 2 days. He's only in it for the money. But then you're like, should have listened to Mark.
Yeah. And then we get to a point where we're like, Mark seems to be a little bit more honest with himself about what the situation is.
Mm-hmm.
Because even the cousin, we kind of get like a little bit of an outside third party perspective.
And
when the cousin
that's a Southern
is like,
charm.
Yes. The cousin is like, no, Louise, it's okay. Your family's strange and there are bad vibes here. And I'm a realtor and this isn't my first bad vibe house. But we do have to take care of it. And Mark is like, yeah, sis, like you're not accepting the fact that this is weird. It's been weird. You took off to California and never looked back. Why do you think you did that? And then he also brings up something that we don't have to talk about yet. But there's a weirdness that happened as children.
I don't. Yeah. Now you're like you distrust Louise, and you go, "Here comes Grady,"
Yeah.
and just tell him what it is.
Okay, so I think we need to first mention
Good point.
that the mom had a brother who passed away as a kid. And I'm sorry, but I missed exactly how that happened, or I don't know. Maybe we don't know. But the mom actually grew up in this house.
Yeah.
So there is some history there. And
Yes.
Louise's mom became obsessed with puppets. And now there's hundreds? I don't know. There's a lot of puppets in the house.
You get the sense that she became obsessed with them because she wasn't that wealthy. She had married, and she was more of an artsy, married the dad. The dad's family basically disowned him
Right.
because he's with this artistic woman and kind of beneath him, is
Right.
what you think. And so they're poor to start out. And so the puppets, she starts doing little things with the puppets and then gets hired by the church and gets, basically the puppets become their livelihood.
Right.
And so she leans in hard.
Big time.
Yeah.
And stuffed animals, puppets, dolls, whatever it's what they have as kids. Like Louise treasures her stuffies. And there is Pupkin, who I think
Mom's
the mom
OG.
made, right? Or did
Mom had it when she was little.
already had it. Okay, yeah. And gets passed down, and Louise has a close relationship with Pupkin. Well, once we figure out the real truth, Pupkin has some control. Pupkin has some ideas
Okay, so
and likes and dislikes, if you will.
actually, okay. So we don't need to tell you more, especially if you've been reading along, or if that's enough to like make you bite, you can go and do that. But let's just say that's where I was like, oh no. Because for me, like I loved my stuffed animals.
Oh, I see.
And Mark says, and Louise even starts thinking this, how can you put so much love and energy into make believing that something is alive where then it doesn't, it becomes alive?
I love that you brought that up, because Mark's whole perspective on why the energy and the spirits and whatever this all is
Yep.
happening, his explanation is brilliant. And I'm totally on board. And Mark's absolutely right. Energy has to go somewhere.
Yep. And I love, and that's when I'm like, oh, Mark, okay, I like you.
Yeah. So I think it's safe to say, we can just let it out that Louise and Pupkin are accomplice, sort of, and try to kill Mark when he's like a little baby.
And she had blocked it out of her mind, but how Grady writes it is so good, because that's when you're like, was it in her mind? There's this mental instability. Like, the only thing is, I don't think that's enough. Like, if I'm Mark and I'm a toddler and a baby and he's having these core memories unlocked, like, is that enough to be such a dick in middle school and high school and then like hate his sister? Like,
I mean, if he's really sure.
but does she continue to do that?
Because I think she's just cold after that. Like, not only did you leave me to drown in this freezing pond, but then you weren't that great of a sister. Like, she didn't do anything violent after, but she was just like, okay, I'm not involved with you.
So essentially, Pupkin convinces her and is like this devil in her ear as a young child, telling her to do all these things to her brother who loves her. And
yeah, Pupkin doesn't like the baby.
And then you go, is it Pupkin, or did she infuse that in Pupkin?
Right. So there is a little bit of a gray area there.
And she betrays Pupkin
and then burying Pupkin. But Pupkin obviously gets out.
You got to describe Pupkin, dude.
Pupkin is Pupkin. Pupkin is like a sort of...
I'm like creeped.
I mean, it's just
Clownish?
like a sort of elementary, too. Like, he's not too complicated.
No.
He doesn't have
Hand puppet.
Yeah, he's a hand puppet. He's clownish. He's got nubs. Stubs and nubs is how I would describe Pupkin.
Stubs and nubs.
Mark says, I've always hated Pupkin. Louise at one point they were very close.
But Pupkin was her mom's. She loved her own stuffed animals. And then Pupkin was mean to her own stuffed animals.
And her own stuffed animals were very disappointed when she took Pupkin's orders to get Mark drowned and nearly kill him.
Weird. Bizarre.
And then she buries Pupkin, but then her stuffed animals never talk to her again. And then Pupkin shows back up. And that's when Louise has this deciding moment as a child, like, hey, be crazy or don't be crazy. And she chooses what she thinks to not be crazy, ignore what has happened, and go on with her life. And from there, logic only for her.
Yep.
Because if she goes past that like sort of wishy-washy line, who knows?
So I no longer trust Louise. Halfway through the book, and then you go, okay, I don't really trust that character anymore.
Yeah.
And I want to know more.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ashley, now that we've set the scene, I'm just like, I'm dying to know, because like I said, we could talk even more about the fluff that's in between, but your favorite scenes.
I didn't love the needle scene, much like I didn't love the cockroach scene in Southern Book Club.
But you loved it.
Yes, it made me feel like Grady was with us.
Okay.
So I will say it's a highlight, but I didn't love it. Pupkin finally, wait, is it Pupkin that attacks Louise? Yes, yes. Oh, okay. So, but it leads me to my favorite scene,
Okay, great.
which is Mark coming in and shooting Pupkin, and then them going to Waffle House.
There it is.
Yeah. So, Pupkin attacks Louise because Louise is like, hey, I'm sleeping in the haunted house because as far as I'm concerned, if I sleep here, then we can consider it not haunted.
Yep.
Luckily, Mark is a good brother because he heads down the road, has a couple beers. Luckily, he has his right to carry, and he comes back to save Louise when Pupkin is like trying to put a needle in her eye. Well, does and wants to kill her.
Yeah, he's the hero. He's basically like, originally stuff started happening, the sounds in the attic, and he was like, no, this is, and they had tried to make amends. Actually, they were trying to like say goodbye to the house, have the Chinese dinner, and he's like, no. You should not stay here. He tells her, and that sets you up. That's like, to me, that's classic scary movie, scary story.
Well, we know something's going to happen,
and we already know there's this history with Puppy.
Yeah,
little Pupkin.
But the
Pupkin. Grabbing onto the hand and like trying to be on, like it's like it's a scene. It is like Pupkin versus Louise, and I feel like it's only round 1.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's only round 1. We're only halfway through the book, and I think we're going to learn a little bit more about like why Pupkin is the way Pupkin is.
Yeah, how about the fact that Pupkin had set up chairs so that when she would run away, she would trip on them and like hopefully die. Yeah, Pupkin's break her leg.
Like a smart, strategic little Pupkin, because Louise doesn't really stand a chance against this tiny little thing.
Yeah,
who also has super strength, and he hasn't even called on like reinforcements because he does seem to have control over like, or some sort of alliance with the other dolls and things.
Yes.
Which the nativity squirrels had attacked her earlier, and that part was just funny.
Okay, and you had started to say it now, like, please tell them what happened.
Okay, so we have the taxidermy nativity scene squirrels that Louise's mom created as an art masterpiece, and I actually think kind of gifted to Louise, like, oh, these are for you. Maybe I'm making that up.
In the will.
Well, in the will, she gets all the art. Yeah.
And that's the art.
Yeah. There's a lot of art. But anyway, so those are the first things to attack Louise. And at that point, she's able to try to rationalize, like, okay, it was just squirrels, even though they were baby Jesus squirrel and Jesus squirrel and Mary squirrel, I think.
And that there you get a little bit of the horror, the Tony, because he describes the nativity scene. It's been on the shelf for a while, so like you're not talking about like a freshly taxidermied.
Yeah, they're just yucky.
You're like, they're falling apart. There's like part of the skull showing.
Yeah,
and she hears the chittering, and that was the creepy part.
Oh, the stomach. She's
like napping, and she sees it come up over the bed. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then you're like, hey, Grady.
So that's, again, I'm not going to be able to not compare, but that's like the woman biting Patricia's ear in the beginning of Southern Book Club. Because we're like, something weird is going on, but it's kind of like funny and
but
like
that happens
so out of the blue.
So much sooner. Yeah. Like I wish Grady had dove in faster.
I guess we just really needed to learn a lot about how Louise sees herself before we can start to learn how it really is.
Well, you shed a light on that for me. But okay, so basically all 3 of these squirrels, who she had thrown away. Because she was like, ew.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, they were mad about that.
They were very mad.
And I think so at a certain point too, she threw away Pupkin right from the get-go. But then obviously he returns to attack. And then we've got the Mark and Louise dolls too, who are creepy.
To me, they're the creepiest.
Me
Because
too.
did you ever have did you go to someone's house where the mom bought those dolls that were hiding on the bench or whatever?
I didn't actually see those in person, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
I did.
The face down ones.
I'm probably turned down a couple sleepovers because of them.
Yeah.
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 Who does that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so sorry. Maybe we have a listener who did that. But when you're
When
a
you're a
child
kid.
growing up in scary times,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not scary times, but with entertainment, you saw more.
Chucky.
Yeah, okay. And obviously this book, and maybe, I had a Furby experience when I was little.
Oh, well, I think we all did. They wouldn't shut up. And it was very Gremlins. Okay,
yeah,
so
I love that.
So what was your favorite so far?
Okay. That part was funny to me because I just imagine her I could just imagine this squirrel attacking her and ripping at her stomach and she's hitting herself, right?
Yeah.
But the needle.
The needle.
Can you tell them about the needle? Because I don't think I can
when
manage.
Pupkin attacks, he brings he's armed with a needle, like a sewing needle, and he's trying to poke her eye out, but what he does instead is he gets the needle to a place where it's keeping her eyelids from closing, and she has to pull it out, and it's after they're rumbling around in the dark, and it's really crazy, and she's traumatized. After Mark comes and shoots Pupkin to save her, the whole time she's like, I'm blind. Well, she really kind of falls off the ledge at that point. She thinks she's completely crazy. She's ready to get on medication. She's just over it. But the description that Grady is so good at really makes you cringe. It's stomach turning, and it's just the way the cockroach goes in the ear in the other book.
100%.
It's not that
he doesn't
gory,
stop.
But it's so disgusting because not only do we have an eyeball involved, which we don't want to talk about anything touching our eyeballs, but then it's a needle and then it's inflicted by the Pupkin.
Yep.
It's all perfectly Grady.
And I want to know what's in the attic.
So the attic is boarded up. I don't know if we mentioned that. There's some noise coming from there. It's not Pupkin because Pupkin is out. What's going on? And there's an attack possibly that parents were dealing with when they did leave to go to the hospital, and they left a hammer and a quick board up job to the attic
Mom
door.
lost an arm. Do you think it's an arm
So
up there?
something's going on.
Something's going on. So like you said, halfway through, and now I want to keep going. I honestly could have read this book this week.
Right.
Once we got going.
Exactly to where we're stopped now, I'm ready because Mark is at a point too where he's like, hey, I'm starting to get you kind of on my side to believe that something weird is going on here. Now I'm going to tell you why I really quit college and moved back. Also, too, we haven't mentioned that Louise's daughter, Poppy, is going through something.
Oh, yeah.
That Louise
Attachment.
may be inflicted by being a little too upfront with her young daughter about the death of her parents. And now she's at home without her mom, and she is regressing, acting like a baby because she doesn't want to get old and die. And her dad is just there to deal with it. And then the mother-in-law seems to want to send her to
and
therapy.
the deeper you get in this, you're kind of like, why didn't she go home?
No, that's where I was having a little bit of a problem suspending disbelief because the house can wait. I would have just gone home. And Louise isn't strapped for cash.
So knowing Grady, and hopefully there's a reason, right? We think it's because she wants the cash, Poppy, blah, 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 blah. But I don't trust Louise.
Yeah, I don't trust Louise either, especially when her daughter is at home clearly suffering and she sees it, but she doesn't seem to want to accept that it seems pretty serious.
Yep. And now that you're talking about the stages, which is great. Now that I see it, I'm popping through the stages of
denial and anger. I think we've come
acceptance.
to.
So I already know because Grady did this to me in the last book. That bargaining, I'm not going to like it. I don't think it's going to be as scary. It's going to be more of Louise being like blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm anticipating,
Yeah,
but I might be surprised.
Yeah,
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It kind of brings us into our game. We can still talk about the book. But just so we are all on the same page, we've read through denial. That was the first stage. We've read through anger. So what we have left is bargaining, depression, and acceptance. So Louise trying to say, okay, yeah, maybe it's haunted, but XYZ, I don't know. That's not acceptance yet because she's still going to want to try to
Or is she bargaining for her life?
Ooh,
if it's
let's hope so.
Let's hope so.
And then depression, so she's going to get sad about something. And then at the end, maybe accepting, maybe they're going to keep the house and all be one happy puppet family. Who knows?
Do you think it'll flip perspectives?
Oh,
kind of like the other one.
maybe.
Like, I don't know. Does Louise bite it and Mark becomes the hero, anti-hero?
I wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. And then
I'm crossing my fingers.
Oh yeah, I also want to mention too, like, it's not that far fetched. Like, we already talked about Mercy, the cousin realtor, saying like, "Hey, I've seen haunted houses before.
Oh yeah.
We got this." And then it just so happens, I don't know if it's another aunt, Constance. I don't know if it's Mercy's mom or not. But anyway, Constance is an old pro at getting rid of spirits.
Isn't that? Oh,
They mentioned.
Yeah.
So like, my next move would be to call Constance over.
I'm at the Waffle House. I'm recouping. I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, let's go.
But I think that there's more to learn about like the history of the family.
So far, is it worth it to our baddies? For you?
I think so.
Okay.
I just on the condition that it's gonna get good.
I hear it gets wicked.
Okay, cool. So I'm happy with giving like the time that we've given so far, as
Okay.
long as we're getting somewhere.
Okay, so I'm gonna put this down so I can thoroughly be enraptured by your game.
Okay, so you guys, it's game time. I'm not the game queen.
Yes, she
Katie
is.
but we did come up with something. By me, I mean we. I mean we, I mean me. It's called Stage Fright because now, as
Sorry.
Katie knows, it's about the 5 stages of grief.
I get it. Bum, bum,
So
bum,
what
bum,
I'm
bum,
gonna
bum,
do,
stage fright.
and I'll only do a couple because it is a little, I don't know, it might be hard to do on the spot, but I'm going to give you a scenario.
Yes.
You're going to react with one of the 5 stages of grief. I'm going to give you an example. It doesn't have to be that hard. Okay.
like my face, or I just say the
No,
word?
you're going to say. So, like an example, I'm going to give you a scenario. The
Okay.
realtor calls and says the house can't be sold because the puppets are already listed as co-owners.
Depression.
Exactly. That wasn't even one of my examples.
Okay.
But yes, exactly. I was going to say you could be anger, like those freeloaders, or bargaining. Fine.
I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah. Okay. So you've got it.
I got it.
I don't.
Okay,
I
okay,
don't
okay.
need to. I'll
Wait,
do a couple more.
Okay. Depression, anger, bargaining,
I'll read you the scenario, then I'll tell you the 5 stages, and then you can tell
hot
me.
dog. She's good, guys.
Okay. You open the attic door and find every single puppet staring at you, and one of them winks. Are you in denial, anger, bargaining, depression, or acceptance?
Denial and acceptance. It could be either of those depending on where I'm at in the story.
Okay.
Denial at the beginning, acceptance at the end, where I'm like, oh, we're screwed.
Like you're just one
We're
big happy
screwed.
family now?
No, we're screwed. Like, I'm not getting out of it. But okay, I have to tell
Time
you though,
out. Yeah.
Ashley, I loved my dolls. The most scariest possible thing that ever could have happened to me as a child would be my dolls coming to life in a badly haunted way like this story. So like, this is hitting home.
So you mean if your childhood stuffed animal suddenly appears in the passenger seat of your car while you're driving, you would feel
Okay, tell me again.
denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance?
I'd actually be super excited because my toys, I love them, but it depends. Does my toy have like a knife or something?
Okay, that to me sounds a little bit like bargaining.
Okay. There we go.
We'll do
There you
2
have
more.
it.
We'll do
There
2
you
more.
have it, Ashley. No, keep going. I love
Okay,
this.
Your phone alarm goes off in the middle of the night and the screen says, "Get out." Like when you're sleeping there like Louise.
Also bargaining.
Okay. A
Because
lot of these are
I'm
bargaining.
a heavy sleeper girl.
What you're telling me is that you are open. You were open.
No, do not put that out in the universe. Please, I know you can't take it back once it's out there.
Okay, how about this one?
Okay.
You're reading through your mom's Bible. Well, you're Louise.
Okay.
You're reading through your mom's Bible and a handwritten note falls out that says, "Don't trust Mark." Are you in denial, anger, bargaining, depression?
Denial.
Okay, because you don't want to believe that you can't trust your brother.
Yeah, and I'm like, what is mom smoking?
That makes sense because honestly, mom does sound a little bit of an unreliable person
Uh-huh.
herself.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Okay, last one. Every family
Two more,
Okay,
more,
fine.
Ashley.
I've got a lot.
Okay.
Every family photo in the house now shows Pupkin sitting where your dad used to be.
See, I think that's hilarious,
Okay.
but also terrifying.
Uh-huh.
And here I go bargaining again.
We're getting to know
I
a
think
lot
we know
about
Katie's
you.
quite unstable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I'm just trying to find the next good one.
Okay. I love
Oh,
it.
okay. You get a text from your dead mom's phone and it says, I'll be home soon.
Acceptance.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's end it there.
And that's how you play
Stage Fright.
Oh, Stage Fright.
Yeah, Stage Fright. Stages of Fright.
Stage
Okay, it was a good
Fright.
try on my part.
I loved it.
Let's do in classic us form
Us farm.
a couple
Hey, what happened?
predictions.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, yeah, that too. A couple predictions for what is going to happen with Mark and Louise.
I want to know what your thoughts are. Uninterrupted.
No. I think that something, honestly,
Mhm.
okay, Grady,
Mhm.
we've already lost the parents, but like, I kind of feel like maybe we're going to lose another character. I don't know who though. And I'm not ready to say who, but I think that we're going to have to fight these demons or whatever. And I think somebody is going to be lost to the fight. That's it.
That was me not interrupting you.
Oh, okay.
How'd I do?
You did really good.
Because I wanted to be like, yes, I know.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Interrupt then, because that was better.
100%, Ashley. 100%. Because if this is your first Grady and you hadn't listened to this podcast, I feel like you'd be reading this and you're along for the ride and you're like, okay, and it's unassuming. And then wham, we're about to get whammed.
I think we're about to get whammed too, because I don't think that it was slow to begin with. I just think it was like so like we're edging Grady here.
Yeah.
That it's gonna be
I'm sorry. Will you
Yep,
say that again?
Yep, nope, I won't.
Yeah.
That we're just gonna be confronted with something major.
I agree. And okay, prediction. Who do you think we're going to lose? Because in
Okay, fine.
the other Grady book, it was someone we loved.
That is true.
So maybe Mark, Louise, Mercy. Is Mercy? I think old Gran though, because like great aunt.
And Honey.
We come to find out she's actually quite older,
Yes.
and she knows what's going on in the town. Does she know more about these puppets? Does she come into the bargaining?
Okay, you know what? Because Aunt Honey is kind of no nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
but you're right. Now, because I was having feelings about like, we're going to learn more about Louise's mom's history being in this house and why we're haunted to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Honey should have some insight,
Mm-hmm.
and she's already old.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we will lose her.
I also think that the other character is going to become prominent. So they're going to try to clear the house, cleanse the house with this other family.
Okay, yep.
But what's in the attic? Prediction.
I feel like Pupkin is our adversary, so who else could it even be? I don't know. I don't think we know. Like, I don't think we've met who it could be, but it has to be a more evil puppet. I don't know.
I think it might be the mom's arm. Is that too far to reach?
No, it's not.
Okay, so did mom and dad hammer the ceiling, or did Pupkin do the ceiling?
I think that
Right?
well, because I was thinking that the parents hammered the ceiling. Whatever was attacking them, they somehow got into the attic and then they boarded it closed.
So we are assuming that it doesn't smell right. They were left because they were attacked, which caused the accident.
Yes.
Was Pupkin in the car with them for the accident?
Oh, maybe. Well, we've already heard that the mom shouldn't have been driving.
Right.
And it was raining.
Right.
And she was probably frantic.
Right.
So did they need Pupkin for the accident? Not really.
But
also,
mom loved Pupkin.
yeah, that's true.
So is there something else or worse that's actually in the attic?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It seems like there might be.
Let's hope Grady answers all of these questions in the second half.
I'm going to read today.
Okay, cool.
I mean, listen or read.
Awesome. So how's the audio?
The audio is okay.
Okay.
Just okay. It's just a narrator, just one female narrator.
Oh, female. So what does Mark sound like? Noted.
Yeah,
What does
it's
Pupkin
fine.
sound like?
Pumpkin sounds just like my normal voice, to be honest. Let me out. Just like that.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I was going to say more because Louise is hearing voices about like, let me out. And I'm not sure if it's always Pumpkin. So maybe it's
it telepathy or is it?
Okay, have you ever seen,
This is fun.
I'm sorry, now we're just tangenting.
This is my favorite part.
But have you ever seen the movie that I can't remember what it's called, but the little girl is under, like, there's a whole doppelganger society of everybody, and the
Ooh,
little
Nope?
girls get switched. Is it Nope? I think it is. Is it? It's the same guy if it's not.
Okay.
So anyway, maybe there's another Louise.
Oh,
evil
not Nope. Don't let them in. Strangers.
Get
What is
out.
it?
Nope, it's not Get Out either.
But I know what you're talking
It's the
about.
same
Tyler
guy.
Perry.
No,
No, not Tyler Perry.
the Key and Peele guy.
Yes.
Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. Maybe there's a doppelganger. Maybe Louise really did have to at that moment when she found Pupkin, and maybe doppelganger Louise is upstairs just ready to wreak havoc.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Honestly, I also do feel like there's something going on with the uncle who passed away when he was a kid. But I don't know if I just didn't catch enough of what Grady had already said about his passing, but I think there's more to that.
Okay, remember though, Pupkin's been around since Mom was a child.
So there has to be
Little-
a tie there.
Louise's little brother almost died around the same age that her uncle had died.
Right. So there's definitely a connection.
Maybe this isn't Pupkin's first rodeo.
So Pupkin is not a brother's sort of puppet.
He likes the ladies.
Yeah. And he's fine with only children. We're learning. We're learning a lot about
Interesting.
Pupkin as we break this down.
Oh my God. You know what? I know he's going to surprise us. Whatever he's going to do, he's going to surprise us. Can't
Yeah.
wait.
And I think there's going to be a lot of
Oh,
moments.
jeez.
Call me Grady.
I'm sorry. She just jump scared me because I was imagining a bunch of horrible situations.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. I think the next episode
Oh,
is going to
gosh.
be just jam-packed full of, oh my goodnesses,
Yeah.
and I don't want to scare Katie again, so
Yeah.
I'm going to take it
I
down a
love
notch.
it. I know we'll finish Grady. I'm not sure about Buffalo Hunter.
Let's not make any promises, but depending on how our personal weeks go,
Ugh.
I think
Sorry.
that the book is going to be enough for us to maybe want to keep going, but let's not make any promises right now.
Love ya.
Love, yeah. Love all you guys. And don't forget about merch. Club member. I got some compliments. That could be you out there getting compliments on your merch. You guys.
Just
try it.
saying. I hope you all have a great week. Get some scares in there. Enjoy the weather. Starting to cool down.
Yeah, all of those things. Bye.